We're like, the story, that's not me. It's not about me, it's not about us, it's never about us. And I don't think we should make a story about us. And I also think that like an emergency medical worker, or like a firefighter, or like a cleanup crew, we bear witness to a lot of bad stuff. We have to try to take care of ourselves so that we do our jobs well. Because, let's face it, it's not natural. Not natural. I mean, I really have come to believe that there is nothing natural about bearing witness to trauma. There's nothing natural about running towards the disaster instead of away from the disaster. And we think that it's breaking instead of breaking us. We learn those things because we've trained ourselves to tell the story. But we also need to be able to understand the price that that takes sometimes, the toll that it takes, and protect ourselves better so we can continue telling stories. What is it like to walk in my shoes? Well, I'm very much like the middle generation. Picture this. I work with people who are 80 years old, and I also work now with people who are 20 years old. So I feel like I've seen a real giant range. I myself feel like the bridge generation. And I learned how to type on an electric typewriter. And now we type like this. I had my first phone when I was finishing university. Now middle schoolers have a mobile phone. I was trained to write text. My track was logocentric, and today everything is based in images, ideas, new media. What the hell? I also feel, very honestly, that I'm equally filled with dread and with hope, with optimism and despair. I find myself embracing the impermanence of things, the impermanence of democracy, the impermanence of institutions, the impermanence of people, our own mortality. I embrace my own mortality. You know, that's been a big part of my journey of growing. And it's been a hard journey because I like things that are lasting, durable, stable, permanent. Although I also recognize that such things are rare, they're not common. I have hired people who have told me that by the age of 30, they have already been fired 2 or 3 times. I have never been fired. I've won awards. But I put myself in their shoes, and I actually understand why they become union activists. I understand why they're highly mistrustful of institutions, companies. They hate owners. By the way, that's hard in journalism to write because we haven't heard about the scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset. In journalism, the truth is, we have never had abundance. Let's play a game. Let's talk about abundance for a minute, okay? Let's pretend. I certainly agree that politically, we need to encourage people to think about how abundance would look like. Abundance in education, abundance in opportunity, like living the dream. But when you're talking about the reality of our newsrooms, scarcity has always been the reality. I think we're all wounded. Not to get all too preachy or anything, but we're all wounded in some way. We're all damaged in some way. We're all fragile in some way. I know. I've had 2 toxic bosses in my life. But I have also had 2 very, very nice people who have been my bosses, my mentors. And I actually have learned from those 4 people very important things. 1, working for a toxic leader who undermines you, who is not looking out for you, who does not have your best interests at heart, is terribly wounding. And I also think that it's hurtful sometimes. And it's so hurtful that it makes people leave journalism altogether. And that has been happening more and more. And there are other wounds. The wounds that come back from the lack of belonging. A lot of people in the newsroom feel that this isn't their place, that they don't belong in there. And I think that one of the most important things that you can say to a leader, to a student, to an intern, or to a colleague is as follows. You belong here. We need people like you. You are needed. And how rare is that? Not rare, but why is it not more common? It should be. And I think my